What's up, Burned In teachers, and happy casual Sunday. I'm going live a day early, and actually, if I would go live other days of the week, a couple of days early, and I'll tell you why in just a second. If we've not met before, my name is Amber Harper, and I'm creator of all things Burned In Teacher, burnedinteacher.com, and I help teachers to name their burnout type, identify their burnout stage, which I'm going to talk about today, and I help them take specific action steps to help them beat their burnout. Now, I told you I'm coming to you live a day or two or three early, depending on the week, and that's because I'm practicing what I preach. Yes, it's Sunday. Yes, I preach that we need to take our weekends to relax and be human and do things that ignite us and things that we're passionate about and spend time with people that we love. But because I have a couple of days that I'm spending time with someone who I love very much, my husband, who is on fall break this week. If you don't know Jeff, he's an elementary school principal, and they have a week-long fall break. So he and I are going to take some time to spend together. And because of that, I have to do a little bit of work on the back end to make sure that I can really be in the moment and be present with him over the next few days. So today's topic is all about what stage of burnout are you in and what is a burned in teacher anyway. The month of September has been dedicated fully to B of burned in, which is begin where you are. And because tomorrow, September, is September 30th, I wanted to jump in here before later on this week, whenever I am back in working mode. I wanted to make sure to close this chapter of the Burned In Teacher podcast focus of Begin Where You Are by making sure you understood that you can not just identify your burnout type by going to burnedinteacher.com/burnout quiz and answering those quick 6 questions, but you can also then assess what stage of burnout you're in. Now, if you take that quiz, you're going to get the Burned In Teacher Burnout cheat sheet in your inbox. And this information that I'm going to share with you here is in that cheat sheet. So go to burnedinteacher.com/burnout quiz. Now, another thing is that this month's freebie is burnedinteacher.com/begin. And you can get chapter 1 of my ebook, Burned In Teacher Training, 8 Steps to Go From Surviving to Thriving in Education. You can get that cheat sheet, or you can get that chapter for free in your inbox as well if you go to that link. So let's dive in here and get to the point of this Burned In Teacher Live. So if you've heard me talk about beginning where you are, then you know that not only do I help teachers to begin where they are by identifying their teacher burnout type, but I also help them to identify their stage. And like always, I do have notes. They're hanging up above the camera. So if you see me looking above, it's so that I don't mix up these stages. Now, I created the teacher burnout quiz. I created the cheat sheet, and I also created the stages of the success roadmap that you'll find in your cheat sheet. And it lists the stages 0 to 5. 0 being totally burned out. Stage 1 is build your spark. Stage 2 is build your ignition. And stage 3 is build your flame, and step 4 is build your fire, and step 5 is, you guessed it, burned in. All right, so I want to identify these different stages and how you're feeling, what you're doing, and what you're thinking about in these different stages. And I have this success roadmap sort of laid out like a rubric. So your teachers, you know what a rubric looks like, and you also know how helpful they are when you're helping students to be as successful as they possibly can be or want to be, because you tell them to do the things that are closer to the right side of the rubric, you know, higher numbers and those things that you expect out of those higher numbers of grades. So let's start with 0, burned out. So when you're totally burned out, and I know what this feels like because I've been there, is you're feeling isolated, ashamed, stressed, and overwhelmed. Here's what you're doing. You're keeping to yourself. You're having trouble sleeping. You may not be doing anything at all. You're just doing the same thing and expecting different results, which is the definition of insanity, right? And then you're thinking about quitting. You're thinking about how impossible teaching is. You're thinking about how much you hate being where you are and doing what you're doing in the place that you're in. That's a horrible place to be, and that is certainly no way to live. So that's why you're watching this video, right? Stage 1 then is you move a step up on the success roadmap. Stage 1 is where you are building your spark. You're feeling guilty, maybe resentful. You might still be blaming, that shoulda, coulda, woulda that I've talked about before. You're feeling cynical. You're feeling cynical maybe about burned in teacher. You're feeling cynical about where you're teaching and the things people are telling you. Maybe you're trying something new and you're cynical about that. You just don't really trust the process. You're paralyzed. You know that you have a lot of work to do on yourself and your professional and your professional career, but you're sort of paralyzed by wondering where to start and what to do first. You are practicing negative self-talk or outright verbal negative talk. You're blaming yourself or others, like I said, that shoulda, coulda, woulda. You're showing strong emotions, whether that's through yelling at your students or your coworkers or your kids, your biological children, your spouse, your partner, or crying a lot. You're showing those strong emotions. And you could be also doing that at a stage 0 as well. And then you're thinking about how you even got to this place in the first place. You're thinking about how much you dread your days and your weeks. And you're thinking about, why do I do what it is that I do? Why am I even doing this anymore? The next step is stage 2, which is build your ignition. This is where you begin to feel validated. And teachers that I work with, they go to stage 2 pretty quickly, because as soon as you identify your burnout type and now your stage, you're like, oh, I'm not crazy anymore. Now, I had the opportunity to speak about burn-in teacher at a conference this past weekend. And if you follow me on Instagram, you saw in my stories that I got to speak to hundreds of teachers. And when I had them take the teacher burnout quiz, it always happens the same. People that are burned out, they come in like, I hope no one saw me. And then they take this quiz and they identify their type and they identify their stage and they get a smile on their face and their shoulders relax and they look at their friend that they came in with and they say, I'm not crazy. Like, this is me. This is me, that I feel these things. Oh my gosh, I'm normal. I'm not a bad person. This is where you feel validated. And now you're curious and you're being reflective and you might be a little anxious because now you're really being more mindful of what it is that you're doing, saying, and feeling. What you're doing is you start to open conversations that you've never had before with people maybe you've never talked to. And you're seeking solutions. You're finding mentors. You're thinking about what's truly challenging you. You're thinking of possible solutions. You're thinking about what you love about teaching or what you miss about what you used to love about teaching, right? And then stage 3 is build your flame. This is where you start to feel activated. You're actually taking action. You're feeling more brave. You're feeling insightful and proactive. You're thinking about what you can do to keep this from happening again. You're making changes. You're taking risks. And you're trying new things. You're not trying the same thing and expecting a different results. You're doing something different. DSD, do something different. And you're thinking about what you want for yourself, what your goals are. You're thinking about new possibilities for yourself. You're thinking about the impact that you make on those around you daily, your people. I consistently come back to my people when I'm going through maybe a season of burnout. And right now, my people are you. I'm so excited to work with you and talk with you each week. And then you move to a stage 4. Can you just tell, like, I'm just so excited to watch people go through this transformation because it is so powerful. Stage 4 is build your flame. This is where you begin to be more intentional. You are more careful about the things that you say in your head and the things that you allow yourself to feel in your heart and the things that you do and say every day. You're more engaged and inspired. You're more focused. What you're doing is making now plans, not just lesson plans, but plans for your life and plans for your career and plans for your home and plans for bringing more of those passions into your life. You're thinking about working with others to create change. You know, burnout is so isolating, but getting burned in is about stepping out of the shame and bringing other people into your circle that can help you to live a happier, more fulfilled life. You're seeking new ways of being. We are human beings, not human doings. So you're thinking about the way that you're being every day. You're also thinking about what you can do to prevent this from happening again. All right, so what habits did you have that you now need to break, or what habits do you need to bring into your life? Who can you bring into your life to support you? You know that I'm a huge fan of your top 5. These are the average of you are the average of the 5 people you hang around with the most. So when you're at a stage 4, you're really being intentional about who you're spending your time with. And of course, you're thinking about plans for supporting others. And I have a quick story about this, and it's kind of personal. So I do not have very pretty feet. I'm just going to be out there and be honest. And it didn't seem to matter how much lotion or anything that I put on my feet. They were always kind of gross and cracked looking. And so finally I was talking to my sister and she goes, well, maybe you have athlete's foot. And I work out a lot. I run a lot. I ride bike. I do all these things to be active. And I thought, oh my gosh, maybe she's right. So I started looking things up on the internet, started doing different things, doing something different. And my feet are now kind of cute. Like, they don't look gross anymore. Well, my mom was over yesterday and she was saying the same thing. She goes, I hate wearing sandals. My feet are gross. And I said, Mom, I'll bet you have athlete's foot. Let me tell you what to do. So we soaked her feet. I gave her this cream that I'm using. And she goes, oh my gosh, they feel so good. And I'm like, yeah. Now, one reason I'm telling you this is because I'm not ashamed of the fact that I needed to do something different just for my stinking feet. But I was able to share my story with her, even though it's about athlete's foot, and I'm able to help her. It's the same idea with burnout. When you've gone through it, you can now tell your story and help others through it as well. Now, stage 5 is a burned in teacher. So if you've ever wondered, well, I know what a burned out teacher is, but what the heck is a burned in teacher? This is what they are. They feel empowered, supported, organized. They feel balanced or harmonized, whichever word you choose. They are having daily assurance. They are flexible. They're sleeping better. They're showing gratitude, all right? They're at least for 3 things a day, they're showing gratitude. They're thinking about their goals. All right, what they truly want for themselves. They're thinking about their passions and their strengths and their story and their journey and what's to come for them in the future. So if you've ever wondered, what the heck is a burned-in teacher? I just told you. And now you also know that not only through burned-in teacher do you get to identify your burnout type, but you get to identify your stage of burnout. How burned out are you? And now you know what a more burned-in teacher looks like as you show success, as you do something different, try new things, reach out to new people, all right? So again, go to burnedinteacher.com/begin to get chapter 1, the free chapter of the Burned In Teacher Training ebook, all about begin where you are, because next month in October, it's all about understand your teacher brand. I cannot wait for the episodes coming up, and I will talk to you soon. Take a deep breath because you just took another step toward being a burned-in teacher. Burn on, everybody.